Nobody believes us, but this is the center of weirdness for the entire planet. Welcome to the Nightmare 365 podcast, everybody. I'm Matt, alongside my brother G. What's going on, brother?
What's up, man?
It's another week, another episode. We just asked three things before we get started. I'll make them quick. I know I'm sending them on each show, but if you're listening to this podcast, leave a review wherever you're listening. If you're listening to iTunes, that would be the good thing because that's where...
5-star.
Yeah, I don't know why iTunes is a place to go to leave a review, but leave a review there. Also, check out our YouTube page. We're going to have some short case files that I'm going to be posting up soon this week as well on the Men in Black, Roswell, a couple other episodes, and they're going to coordinate with our podcast itself. And check out nightmare365.com. All of our contact information can be found there, from our email, phone number, everything right there at Nightmare 365, and it's a new website. So check it out.
A lot of prank calls lately.
A lot of prank calls. Yeah, we're getting some good ones. But check that out, and then also our Patreon page if you want to support the show. Anyway, that helps us out. So with that being said, and that's out of the way, that's kind of like our promo. But anyway, we are talking about Case File 19, the 1952 UFO event over Washington, D.C. Not too many people know about this event. So we're going to talk about the history of it and then just jump into some of our theories and just kind of BS our way through it. So let's get this party started. As always on the show, we like to start off with some weird news. This weird news comes from UFOseekers.com. I follow this channel, and I really enjoy this husband and wife that they go around seeking, trying to find UFOs. It's a cool channel. I don't know if I ever sent you anything.
No, you haven't. Not with that.
Not with these people, but check it out. Recently, they posted a video from January 30th, so just a couple days ago, about secret projects and strange noises in Lamar, California. So it's, I guess, their season 2, episode 10. What's really happening at Lamar Naval Air Station? What was cool about this is they got reports of strange noises happening over the airstrip out in California, and we want to play a clip from there. I hope they don't mind, and I hope we don't get kicked off. But this was the strange noise, and I like the way that they break this down and do their videos because they seem to be big believers in UFOs, but they also look at it logically.
Well, that's the way you should look at it.
Right. So they did their investigation. You could see them, throughout the whole video. The whole video is 11 minutes, 24 seconds. Their YouTube channel is great, so I recommend subscribing to them. But there's a clip. So people reporting. Now, picture this. I just want to say, if you're in this area late at night, just hanging out in your house, anything, and then you hear this weird noise, I'd be freaked out too. So check this out. This is just a short clip. I'm going to play like 5 seconds of it from their video. It'll play again shortly, just on a loop. So that's a pretty crazy noise.
Sounds like a dinosaur.
It sounds like a dinosaur to you?
Like a velociraptor, like Jurassic Park.
Yeah, and you would never think it's coming from an F-35. That's what they claim in the video. I don't know too much about aircrafts or anything like that, but they claim it was an F-35.
Well, I don't know. From the video, it looks like it's banking like really hard right.
So maybe
that
that's
could
a normal
Yeah,
noise.
maybe that could be like them, like not the engine stalling, but like the engine revving up or something like that. And that's the way it...
I think it was a cool noise, and if I was out there, because they get pretty excited in the video, so just go check them out. They do a great job. UFOseekers.com. That was your weird news for today. So let's jump into the actual case file. And also, I want to say before we jump into this, if you're watching on YouTube, I know there's been, just from our videos, our technology hasn't caught up yet to what we want to do on the show. I know most people listen through the apps, Stitcher, iTunes, all that. But if you're watching us on YouTube, which I recommend, subscribe. The picture quality when we pull stuff up on the big board here in the studio might not come in crisp yet on the feed. So we're working on it. I'm working on it behind the scenes. I just want to let everybody know that. So let's talk about this, man.
Let's do it.
1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident. So right now I'm just on Wikipedia running down. And also I want to recommend the book we recommend today is Sightings, UFO. It was actually an old TV show from the 90s, Sightings. So in the first chapter, actually, they talk about this event too. In 1952 over Washington, D.C., it was also known as the Washington Flap, Washington National Airport Sightings, or the Invasion of Washington. And this was just a series of unidentified flying objects reports from July 12th to July 29th in 1952 over Washington.
17 days.
Yeah, but there was a series of two really events on 2 nights from
the 19th and 20th,
weekends.
yeah,
the 19th and the 20th, and then the 26th to the 27th. Those were the big ones. But there was a lot of reports that kept coming in. And doing some research for this particular episode, I started thinking, all right, this is right around the time when we even did the Roswell crash, right?
Sure.
It's 5 years before. Started talking about that. And then also, I wanted to know about aviation in 1952, because this happened over what is now considered the Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport.
Yep.
In Washington, D.C.
Yeah, it sits like right like if you ever been to Washington D.C., it's like a little like southeast of the main city. It's on the Potomac River.
It's close to the Pentagon, right?
It's on the same side of the river as the Pentagon, but it's probably like, I don't know, a couple miles down.
Well, if you look up 1952 in aviation, there's a ton of history, and you can see the different planes that were, in production, different just civil airplanes, military airplanes. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that we don't even know about.
I mean, plus there's like Andrews Air Force Base is not too far away from Washington, D.C.
There's a military base there too as well. And that was kind of cool because I wanted to look at it from a different perspective and say, all right, I love UFOs. I want there to be UFOs out there. I want to know that there might be some alien technology out there that we might have. But I also thinking about, this was also a time during like the Cold War, the war's over, World War II.
Yep.
You have to look at what kind of technology that our government does have. And we just saw from the video, where people say there's strange noises, and then it turns out to be an F-35.
Well, I was reading something when I started reading about this case, because I didn't have any clue about it, that our government thought it was like the Russian spies or Russian government,
right?
Making false claims or like boosting up the claims to panic people.
It makes sense, right? And that's the one thing that I thought about too.
Russia collusion.
It could be one of those things where, all right, the military now comes in and says, what's going on? Is this somebody from another country, Russia, during the Cold War, or could it be somebody else? And then this was also the time of Project Blue Book, where it just kind of really started revving up. And from a lot of the reports, they were getting, I think it was over 1,500 and something reports.
Yeah.
And we'll play a clip.
Which is kind of weird because like this one doesn't get publicized as much as Roswell.
Dude,
and you would think like this is in a populated area and Roswell's not. Like you would think that.
Well,
I don't know.
That's my whole thing about just doing the show. I want to bring a light to some of these cases that haven't really been talked about.
Now, is it a thing like it hasn't been talked about because it's debunked, or what do you think?
There was a lot of stuff. Well, there is a video floating around, and if you go on YouTube, and this is where you have to do your research, and this is where we try to do our due diligence, our research and our reading and our watching videos. There was a documentary that was put out in 2005, and in that documentary, they made clips of objects flying over D.C., and everybody in those clips was saying these are actually the UFOs that were spotted over Washington, D.C. in 1952.
Yeah.
And then there was tons of videos, if you type it in, that come up from that incident and saying this is actual footage when it's really not. It came
Yeah.
from a documentary in 2005. So you have to be careful with that. But then again, getting back to your point, and we were discussing this before, how I don't know why this doesn't get much play. I don't know why this wasn't made into a movie. Maybe, like you said before,
Independence Day.
Independence Day kind of, they blow
Say
up.
they blew up the White House.
They blow up the White House.
Didn't they blow up the Capitol too, or no?
No, I
Or
think
just the White House?
That was probably a different movie. But
You know what movie I was watching last night was pretty cool?
What?
You ever see Battle Los Angeles?
no, but
Or Battle for Los Angeles?
Yeah, but I want to talk about that too, because that incident is kind of the same as this, in an aspect of, all right, the military was firing on something, where the military didn't fire on anything.
Yeah.
Going back into the reports from the events that were happening in 1952, from July 19th through the 20th, it was around 11:40 p.m. on Saturday, July 19th, where air traffic controller in Washington D.C. airport, which is obviously now Ronald Reagan, was spotted several objects, or 7 objects too, on the radar. And the objects were located about 15 miles southwest of the city. And no,
So it's like in Virginia,
Yeah,
to give
there
you
was-
perspective.
there was no known aircraft that were in the area at this time, or there was no established flight plans or paths. And then he even contacted a senior air traffic controller at the airport, and they watched the objects. And there was also reports that this one air traffic controller was reporting it, and also in Virginia there was another.
Well, because Dulles is right there too.
Yeah, they were also reporting the same thing. And then at this point, they found other objects, on the radar, peered closer. They were moving towards and over the White House, the Washington Capitol, and then also over the Pentagon.
Yeah, that'll be awesome.
So this is cool, too, just to talk to about Washington, D.C., the area, because you lived down there.
Yeah, for
And-
3 years.
So was there a lot of military planes or just plane? I know the airport's right there, so planes fly in there all
Yeah,
the time.
I mean, planes, like if you ever fly into Reagan, they go right over like the Lincoln Memorial, right, or like by the Washington Monument, and then they land.
Yeah.
So you saw planes landing every single day. And then like obviously you got the president, going out on helicopters. You also got like the park police that also have their helicopters.
But did you see any like military planes a lot or anything
No.
like that?
No, because those are usually over in Maryland.
And I know this is a different time. This is in the 50s. And then
Plus, like now, like they got like, I mean, since 9/11, obviously, like since the planes like crashed into the World Trade Center, they have like,
in the Pentagon,
yeah, in the Pentagon, they have like
air quotes.
they have like missile stations like around DC for that very reason.
Yeah, and this
So like they do have the Air Force now like monitoring
right.
the whole airspace.
Well, that's why I don't understand why this event hasn't gotten more play.
Well, like, I mean, one event that hasn't, I don't know, most people don't know about, the guy who tried to crash, I think it was a postal worker, tried to crash his Cessna into the White House. You remember that?
Yeah,
He
I
landed
do.
like on the back lawn.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but all right. Everybody seems to be into UFOs. I mean, there's tons of websites. I look on it each week just for weird news,
Yeah.
see what's going on. There's a whole YouTube channel dedicated, even the UFO seekers.
is it because it didn't crash, you think?
Yeah, but it was sightings.
Yeah, but so, all right. I mean, people could be like, or like they can explain it away. Like,
Okay.
oh, yeah, it was a plane or it
Okay.
was this or that. I don't know.
We talked about it.
Just like the Arizona lights.
Yeah, well, that was cool. There was video of that.
Yeah.
There was no video of this that I've seen or I found.
No, like you always see like renderings of it.
Yeah. But I'm going to play a clip too, and I think you could listen to it as well, because one of the Air Force generals came on and talked about it. So they did acknowledge it. And at one point they did say it was like weather balloons, all this other stuff. That's like the typical
It's always
answer.
weather balloons.
But, all right, how come Roswell gets, in 5 years prior, that there was a crash, there was debris.
well, I think
that one
'cause-
gets such play. This one, there was reports of 7 to 12 objects spotted over the capital of the United States.
Well, I
Come
think I don't know. I think Roswell gets more play because the Air Force actually came out the next day and was like, "We recovered the flying saucer." Maybe
on.
that's
But then
why.
they retracted it.
Yeah, I know, but
Well,
maybe that's why. I
There
don't
was
know.
reports here. If you look in and you go around through all these events that were happening,
Yep.
the Air Force recognized this. It made front page headlines in newspapers around the nation. You know, a typical example of the headline from Cedar Rapids Gazette in Iowa, reads "Saucer Swarm Over Capitol" in large black print. So there was a lot of reports and people talking about this, and even one of the generals here, Edward Rublett, senior Air Force of Project Blue Book, he even came out, because there was also reports too, which our buddy, actually William Nash, he's an author from the Jupiter Factor series, talked about this. And I was in correspondence with him, and he also wrote a piece on this event. And he said there was a book that was printed called The Report of Unidentified Flying Objects, written by that same man.
Yeah, the general.
Yeah, the general. So I don't know. That was written. There was a documentary made in 1956, which covers the case pretty accurately. And it's called, if anybody wants to find this, you can look at IMDb, which I'll bring it up on our channel right here. Unidentified Flying Objects, The True Story of Flying Saucers from 1956. And it talks about this event. And then also, if you really want to watch it, the whole thing could be found on YouTube. So just type in that, and I'll link it in the show notes. So,
YouTube.com/nightmare365.
There you go, man. Yeah, so I'll link it up in the show notes for this, the weird news, obviously. But check out those videos. Yeah, it's still, I don't know. And it wasn't just one night. That's the thing. It's not like Roswell. There wasn't,
nights.
Wasn't like you talked about the Arizona in 97, because I remember watching that as a kid and being fascinated.
Well, that was over a couple nights as well.
Was it?
Yeah, I think like 3 or 4 nights.
But even this happened over a span of a couple weeks.
17 days.
17 days. So yeah, because the other events happened pretty much at the end of July 26th, 27th at 8:15 on another Saturday. And what's interesting about this...
Oh, yeah, the airline spotted it, right?
Yeah, the airline, and also they were sent out. Military planes were sent out after this. So there's talks about that. And there's obviously reports in Project Blue Book about it. And once the aircrafts were getting close, I guess, to these objects, they disappeared and then came back later. So I don't. This case above most of all is compelling to me. And it just.
Well, what do you think it is? Do you think it is a UFO? Or do you think it's like a special aircraft that
I think it was. I think it was a UFO.
Okay.
All the reading I did and just listening to some of the press conferences, even the president of the United States at the time,
Truman, right?
Truman came out and had to say something about it because it was such national news.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that's, today, if that happened,
Trump,
right? Or anything that was going on, would he come out and acknowledge it? I don't know. I
think he would.
You think he would?
Hell
I
yeah.
think he would.
I think he would.
Like, if this happened, if this event took place right now over Washington, D.C.,
yeah,
I don't know if they would come out. I think there would be a lot of hush-hush.
Oh, that's a weather balloon or a secret project.
I hate that. Do they think that people are that dumb to believe it's a weather balloon?
Yes.
When it's moving from the Capitol.
Look at all the shit that they tried to cover up. The government in total, throughout the whole history.
You know my feelings, and most people probably listening know my feelings.
I know,
on this.
So I'm just saying that they think we're stupid, or they don't want to tell us the truth because like normal people would freak out that look what happened over California when the spaceship or Elon Musk, right, put that satellite.
Well, I even said
people
that.
freaked out about that.
What did I tell you? I told you. I don't know how many podcasts ago that was, but we talked about that. You're like, the government should put out.
They should, though.
And I said, what would people do? People would freak out. And then a week later, the SpaceX launched, and people were like, oh my God, we're under attack. You saw videos on Twitter.
Yeah, I think that the government readily said, UFOs are real, aliens are real. Here's what we know, blah, 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 blah. Went down. It wouldn't be a big thing, I think. If you kept telling people, listen, it's okay,
we're working with them.
Not working with them, but they've been here. We know they exist. They haven't done us any harm yet. We reverse engineered all this crap from them. It's okay.
I guess.
I don't think people would freak out then. If they saw a UFO, they would be like, oh, okay, cool.
I think people would, because it
Some people
might change your belief, right? because now you know something else is out there.
But there has to be something else out there.
Technology more advanced than we are.
Hell yeah, there is.
Well, they have to be more advanced if they can come to our planet and visit.
I mean, there's a base on the dark side of the moon.
I actually watched a video on Amazon the other night talking about things like that.
Yeah.
It was a cool documentary.
What did it say?
Well, they were just talking about pictures, and NASA flubs pictures and fixes them up, and from what they actually looked like, it looks like there's bases or some type of remnants of an old city on the moon.
That would be awesome if there was.
Which we talked about the faking of the moon landing on one of our podcasts.
Yeah.
And there was astronauts from those moon landings that were talking about seeing things on the moon.
Yes.
Now, this is where I have trouble with all this. Because if they talk about seeing stuff on the moon.
Or never going to the moon.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, which one is it? Like if they went to the moon, because they reported going on to another channel and radioing back to NASA. There was one part where they were talking about going to a different channel and be like, dude, there's like aliens and something watching us. There's something in the distance.
Imagine that.
Well, that gets back to my thing now. Like, all right, did we fake the moon landing? Or is there an alien base on the thing, the moon? Because that's where I can't wrap my head around. One has to be correct, one doesn't. All right, or if both events, all right, so we never faked the moon landing, we actually went, and then now there's bases on the moon, they reported it.
Is that why we never went back, you think? Because it was already funded, it was already paid for, it was already built, like all those, the space.
I don't know, maybe we can get back into that case. Further down the line, we'll talk about the dark side of the moon and some of the theories on that.
Well, somebody said, when was it that they said the moon is hollow?
Yeah,
you hear about that?
There's a lot of theories. And I don't know what to buy. Like, same thing with this. How much is the military telling us? How much are they not telling us? How much are they,
They never tell us everything.
No, they don't.
What was it? They didn't even say Area 51 existed until, 2004 or something like that?
Yeah, and that was how many years? But they keep expanding the property. So maybe they are developing something there.
Goddamn
even if it
tunnels
is just,
underneath there.
Even if it's just aircraft that they're using,
Well, somebody said that there's tunnels connecting like a couple different Air Forces base with Area 51.
Oh, and you laughed at my tunnel theory for Bigfoot.
Well, I don't think Bigfoot's living in those tunnels.
Why not? He's running around, and that's why
in those tunnels.
He's in New Jersey at some points, and he's in the Pacific Northwest.
I don't think so, but
maybe D.B. Cooper's living down there now with all that money.
With Bigfoot.
Yeah, that'd be great. But I want to play a clip of one of the major generals, his clip. It's not the one that we were talking about that wrote the book, but if you want to listen to it as well. And I'll play this. He talks about not really Project Blue Book, but some of these sightings in the reports. So I'll play this clip now for everybody to listen.
I am here to discuss the so-called flying saucers. The Air Force interest in this problem has been due to our feeling of an obligation to identify and analyze to the best of our ability anything in the air that may have the possibility of threat or menace to the United States. In pursuit of this obligation, since 1947, we have received and analyzed between 1,000 and 2,000 reports that have come to us from all kinds of sources. Of this great mass of reports, we have been able adequately to explain the great bulk of them, explain them to our own satisfaction.
That right there is interesting to me.
To their own satisfaction?
To their own satisfaction. So what does that mean if we read into that? That's from 1952. So this is Major General John Sanford's account of what was going on and about the reports. So if you think about from 1947, for 5 years, they were getting 1,000 to 2,000 reports on UFOs. Now, when we think of UFOs, UFO to us just can be a spacecraft that we're not familiar with.
Yep, it's unidentified.
It's just unidentified. It doesn't have to necessarily mean an alien.
Correct. Because if you look at that time frame, how many they were developing stealth technology.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We talked about the Cold War, the end of World
all
War
those
II.
different types of aircrafts that they were developing. Which I watched a funny documentary on Area 51, and then building the the spacecraft, like the high altitude one.
I would have to pull it up. I don't know the exact name. Like I told you, I'm not too familiar. If you want me to look it up, I'll try to.
But they were
it up.
shipping it from Lockheed Martin in California to Area 51, and like they were pulled over at one point. And the guy was like, a kid stopped. He said, and was like, "Oh, what's in the back of the truck?" He's like, "Oh, it's a UFO." And then he was like, "Ah, just kidding." But like,
I would mess around with people too. I'd be like,
but
yeah,
like it really was, because they'd never seen technology. It was a spy plane, like the U.S. spy plane. Blanking on
the
the name.
Aurora.
No,
I'm looking it up. I mean, they have.
it was right before like the stealth.
I know this one's a little different. This is the
Aurora. No,
but I'll look it up. I mean,
So-
it's one of those things where we could definitely. And that was what, 1947 or
like in the 40s and 50s. Yeah, just look up high altitude like spy plane.
I mean,
so.
there's a bunch of them. Was this the one?
That one. Yep.
Yeah, I know what one you're talking about because I remember having it as a little kid.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, we had it. That.
Right
there.
We had a version of it. It's the fastest plane. It's sitting in a museum now, man.
There you go.
So it's over.
Let's go
So-
get it. SR-71. That's it. The SR-71.
Yeah, I retired in 1989. So there's a cool picture of it. We just pulled it up if you're watching on YouTube. And that's it.
Yeah, that was developed at Area 51.
And yeah, if you look at that and you're not familiar with aircraft, it does look like an aircraft though. Even of that time, obviously
It
a
does,
lot
but
different.
like looking at it, then like when they developed the stealth bomber,
I don't know why they don't. It's such a cool looking plane.
the stealth bomber, like the triangle, look at that. You look up that one. That legitimately, that's like unlike any aircraft that was ever like built and created. It's a triangle shaped. So I'm assuming maybe that could have been it. Because it flew like slow and then it could fly like fast. Yep, right there.
Yeah.
Like, look at that.
No, I mean some of these aircraft.
And then, like, look at the technology that they were trying to do, like the saucer hovering, craft that they were trying to build.
there was plenty of them, and that's what's interesting about this case. These were spotted over, but I guess everybody's not in communication. There's some parts where even if it was an air traffic controller, just like a regular dude looking at a blimp, like I see something, and the military's like, we got to keep this quiet. Like, this is a new technology. We don't want people to know.
Sure.
All right. People are picking it up. So now we have to find a way to do technology where it's not picked up by radar.
Yeah.
So maybe that's what they were working on. Maybe that's what we saw. And they're,
Just trying to test it out, see if it was.
Yeah, but I don't know why they would test it out over a city, over a popular city
Yeah, I don't
like
think they
Washington,
would.
D.C. Yeah,
Well, it's like when we talked about the UFOs, right? The FAA director. Remember that guy? He had the report.
Yeah.
Like, they're like a hand over everything. He didn't.
right.
And like he was like, yeah, we tracked it. And, it was going this high and this fast. Like,
And that's what we try to, debunk or not debunk and saying it's a possibility. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's one of those events that, all right, we know it happened. It was in newspapers. Mm-hmm. It was reported by air traffic controllers. So there was tons of witnesses. And just from the report that we heard from the Major General,
yep.
there was thousands of reports.
Like I
coming in.
wonder like if you were, let's say in the CIA or, NSA or whatever, maybe even the president like can get this information. Like, and you got briefed every day. Like, oh, we talked to this, civilization.
Well, there's
Imagine that.
Well, look it up. Just look up there's a video online. I'll try to find it and see if I could play the clip without us getting in trouble. I never want to get in trouble when we're playing some of these clips from other people. But President Truman, he openly talked about it, how he was briefed pretty much every day
Yeah, on
on stuff
alien.
like this. I'll try to find the exact
Like the
clip.
amount of crap that they probably get briefed on though is mind-boggling.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure just from, people reporting this and then just from military. I mean, you just watch that documentary from 1956. It is a little dated There's some
Yeah.
parts that are really cheesy, and you're like, this is so boring. But there's also parts where it kind of paints a good picture
Yeah.
of what would happen back then.
Like, let me ask you this question. Like, do you think there's, I'm not saying like, this is the name of the agency, but like an X-Files type agency exists, like that investigates.
Dude, I would love that.
But like, how would you even get like recruited into that? Number one, and number two, like you'd go out and talk to all these people and be like, listen,
Maybe those are the real Men in Black, bro.
yeah, but like, all right, what did you see? And then, like, no, that didn't happen. Like, it's a weather balloon. See, like, I wish more people would come out. Like, but then again, you don't know who's credible and who's trying to make up a story and make themselves look important and stuff like that.
Like we said even in the beginning, some of these YouTube videos that were saying this was actual footage from 1952, enhanced version of the actual spacecrafts. There's also a lot of videos, debunking that particular video.
Yeah.
But there's also people that buy into that and then repost that.
Well, that's like anything. Like if you go on YouTube, you don't really know what's real and what's not. And then like people, you get down these, which is another conspiracy I would love to talk about.
What?
The flat Earth.
All right, we could talk about that.
Like,
I mean, I'm down.
You type in like whatever you could type in, like fake moon or whatever you want to type in.
People believe that came from 4chan.
And then like, like suggested videos.
Right.
Flat Earth. And then like you start watching that and then like, oh shit, the Earth is flat.
Well, we talked about it no matter what, even on our last episode and every episode. If you believe a certain narrative, like the whole JFK, right? If we went and believed somebody's theory.
Yep.
And we even talked about it, just the people we believe, like we watched Decoded and they honed in on one guy, for the D.B. Cooper case. But then you watch a whole nother video where they hone in on a totally different person. And if you believe those narratives, you can get hooked. Same thing with anything like this.
You can, yeah.
And it's, all right, if you watch enough Flat Earth, they start making sense.
No, it doesn't.
No. If you watch certain ones, they make some good points, right?
Yes, they make good points.
And then you watch, and then also, I think they believe.
But your mind has to be open to that sometimes, too.
But like we said, the government, like you know how I feel about government.
Love government.
I don't.
Love big government.
As much as I love history, I love learning about history, reading about history.
Well, the government was never tended to be this big anyway.
No, but and that's beside the point. But it just we're constantly lied to, and people should go back and read Plato's book Rhetoric, because if you actually read Rhetoric and then listen to some of these people speak, and I hate the way that they kind of it's one team or the other. That's what I hate too, and. Same thing with this. It's like, all right, you're either a believer or you're freaking a non-believer, right?
Yeah.
And if you're a believer, you're a kook. Something's wrong with you. Even probably us talking.
I mean,
about
the
it.
sheer possibility though of another civilization being out there, like the probability is like almost 100% that there's another civilization out there.
I believe
in all the
is.
stars, or even like people don't consider like this like. To be aliens, but like bacteria life, like somewhere else in the universe, there has to be.
Well, they proved it. You can look on NASA and any of these space stations. They prove that bacteria can survive because they brought stuff up into space, and there is bacteria that they've proven that can survive in space.
Like, what do you think would happen? Let's say, like we were talking about the Battle of Los Angeles, like where like an alien spacecraft came down and like landed.
It'd be awesome.
And just like. Landed
like on the White House lawn.
No, just somewhere.
I wish they did land on the White House lawn in 1952.
I wouldn't.
I wish they'd been like, you know what? Here we go. Boom.
You know where I would land? Like if I was an alien, like if I knew like about our civilization.
Where?
During the Super Bowl somewhere.
Like right in the middle of the game, halftime.
Imagine that.
But people would think it's part of the show.
Yeah, but then something gets out.
Hey guys. Well, I even talked to a couple buddies of mine, and we talked about what aliens really are. And he had a theory where he said aliens are just us in the future.
Yeah, I can. Well, then you believe in time travel then.
Well, there's a whole nother topic.
Do you think aliens live among us?
It's possible.
Like the whole Men in Black thing, like, oh, I thought my third grade teacher was an alien. Charles Barkley is an alien.
I don't know, man. Looking at it, I leave the door open, right? I say there's a possibility because there's a lot of stuff that we don't understand.
Yeah.
But there's also, I don't know, man. It's possible. I'll give you that. But do I think? I don't think so. Because why would they want to live if they're so advanced that they can come down here? Why the hell would you want to live among us?
Look at Superman. He wanted to live among us.
You're equating Superman.
He's an alien.
Yeah, it looks human. So maybe it's really us in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I don't know. If you look at that...
Like, do you believe, like, in fate and, like, all that stuff is too?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. And I
or
hate not answering some of these questions.
Or coincidences and stuff?
Well, there's a lot of time. I don't know if I told you. There was when we used to travel up to Maine, on the way back from Maine, I don't remember exactly where it was. I don't know, maybe just seeing it enough times as a kid, but I would have a dream.
Candy house?
Yeah, that house that was on the highway.
Yeah, it's on the Mass Pike.
I would always see that in my dreams.
Yeah.
But then I would also be in that house.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, you know when you have a dream
Yep.
where it's your house, but it's not your house?
Yeah.
It was kind of cool because the new X-Files season, they had similar to what that was. She was like, I was dreaming I was in the house, but it wasn't in my house.
Yeah.
It was kind of cool because I've had tons of dreams like that where you're in your house, you know where everything is, but it's not your house. And then you're like, wait, at the end of your dream, you're like, where the hell am I?
Well, it's like if we went back to our old house.
I would love to.
Could you get around that house still?
Yeah, I know exactly where everything was.
Yeah.
I mean, I was old enough before we left, I think.
Yeah, I remember that house too.
Yeah, I remember all the nooks and crannies. I remember hiding in certain places. And
Yep.
It would be cool now to look at it because when you're a kid, your perspective is different.
Oh, you thought
right?
it was huge.
Yeah, you thought it was really big. Now, probably going in, it was like, wow, this doesn't look as big.
Yeah.
But isn't there sometimes where you have a memory of something?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would just want to leave that memory the way it is. I wouldn't want to go back and see something, you know?
Sure.
Like I enjoyed it the way I remember it, even if it is totally wrong. I don't know. I know we got off on a big tangent here, but yeah, same thing with this case, man. I just don't know why people don't talk about this more as a real definitive.
Yeah, it's not as mainstream.
Maybe it is fake. But
like if you typed in UFO on Google, how many searches would come up before you got to this case?
Just UFO?
Yeah, just UFO sightings or whatever you want to put in, because that would probably be like
47 million results.
Yep. So I wonder like how many pages you got to go to get this case, because the first one's Roswell. And then...
Well, what comes up is not... If you just type in UFO...
Like, just type in UFO sightings, maybe.
Yeah, I guess there's a lot of reports recently, so there's stuff from 1 day ago, 14 hours ago. Let's see.
But yeah, I would think, like, if you type in UFO sightings, like, I wonder what are the top 10 sightings, and is it even on it?
Yeah, I'm pulling it up. So right now, you have weird footage of a humanoid UFO over Mexico. But that was actually debunked if you actually look into that.
What was it?
Do you ever see the Star Wars balloons?
Yeah.
The stormtroopers?
Yeah.
It was one of those things that was floating around.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, all right, from 4 weeks ago, Manhattan reported more UFO sightings than any other borough.
Yeah, I don't...
So, you have a list of UFO sightings from Wikipedia. Ooh, maybe I should start checking this. UFO sightings daily.
Yeah, okay.
I should put that on the Weird News Report so I could check that out weekly.
Black money.
UFOs
sightings, 140 years.
So
basically it's a lot of just, recent.
Roswell came up.
Okay, Roswell's on the first page.
And there's 3 million searches over this. So short history of this.
Yeah, so basically probably that's not even going to come up. So that's probably why people don't know about this.
All right. Well, I'll just Google the 1952 event, see how many cases come up. Right? So if you type it just 1952, one of the first sightings, or maybe it was just a search engine.
Yeah.
But yeah, not that many. Just 200.
200,000.
That's it.
So that's probably why.
And let's just type in Roswell to get a good comparison.
That's got to be over 5 million probably.
10
million.
So... Well, that's also a TV show. See, they did a lot of different things about it, which that's what I don't get. there's a lot more information on it.
Well, what if you typed in the Arizona lights?
Let's see.
Because that's probably another major one. And then, like, the British one is, like, their Roswell one. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know why it doesn't get much play.
Or the Phoenix Lights, as they're known. Yeah, it's 2 million. So a lot more even than the 1952.
Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's just because it wasn't captured on video. It really wasn't.
Yeah,
I know. I don't know. I don't know.
A lot of these cases weren't captured on video. There was over 1,000 sightings of this. The president came out. I still had trouble finding though where the president. I mean, everybody was saying, "Oh, this was from 1952," but it could be from a different speech and not even have anything to do with the sighting over there. I could play a clip of it. It's not long of Truman speaking about this, but I don't know.
So what's your final conclusion on this? You believe it happened. You believe it's a UFO.
Yeah, no doubt. Just from the sightings that were reported, the air traffic controller saying, all right, there was something on there. And then
here's my question though. Where do they go? Like, how, like, all right, they're there for 2 weeks, and then what happens? Where do they go? What do they do? They got their information?
Yeah, they go back.
Now, why is
did you ever hear the theory that they live under the ocean?
Yes, I've heard that.
That people seen UFOs come out of the ocean, and I don't know which voyage it was. Mm-hmm. If it was like Christopher Columbus or one of those other early voyagers,
goddamn Mayflower,
over here, where they saw something come out of the water. I could type that in. And see that's
the ocean's so big and so deep. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so maybe they have a secret base where they can go underneath, and all right.
Goddamn Bigfoot swimming.
They're reporting it. Yeah, maybe there's tunnels right out there, and they're sending it. And there's people that believe Bigfoot is an alien.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, there was a thing I saw not a while ago about off of California, I think it was, that a UFO came up out of the water.
Yeah, so there is reports of it. I don't know. Well, let's just look at this. The Air Force explanation. To calm some of the public anxiety over this UFO waves of reports, the media came out.
He said it was not caused by solid objects.
Right. So there's just a whole explanation. People could read about it online. They talked about B-52 bombers.
They said it was a temperature inversion.
Yeah, I heard that a lot too.
Which I don't. I mean,
it does happen.
Well, because whatchamacallit, Pearl Harbor, right? That was like one of the first radar stations, like the time they were using radar, and they thought like the Japanese bombers were just like a flock of birds,
right?
Because like it's not like radar it is today, how it's very accurate. It was very like primitive back then.
Well, yeah, they did talk about that, where they talk about these weather anomalies kind of showing up on radar, and they really didn't know how to identify them at the time. But if you're in the military, you can. I feel like you would have enough training, enough sightings, and enough.
They didn't know in Pearl Harbor, man.
I get it, but that was before the 1952 event. So
I know
anything with the government now that I'm sure I know. If something happens, there's always a reaction. Like there's always a reactionary period where, all right, this happened. We can't let this happen again. So here's some training on this. And after that happened, they had a while. Almost, I mean, it wasn't 10 years, but almost 10 years to kind of train on this and say, all right, let's revamp our technology. Let's redo this. Let's look at it.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know. When you're trained in this stuff and there's enough people questioning, like it's not just, Matt looking at this radar and saying, oh, it's a UFO. I'm going to go to my superiors and say, what do you think this is? And they're going to look at it. And if they don't know, they're going to ask somebody else. So that's why I believe overall, in my last opinion on this, it was a UFO. They didn't know how to explain it. They come out.
It's a weather balloon.
They talked about it. Yeah, they talked about a bunch of different theories. Like you heard the clip when I played it. Mm-hmm. There was a lot of stuff. Like we say, there's accounts and reports of people all the time. Witness testimony sometimes is really bad. So they sift through that. They discounted a lot of them. But there was a lot of them, like he said, that we couldn't discount but there was a lot of stuff that, to our own liking, now we know what it is.
Yeah.
So when you look at that, like that statement from that clip tells a lot to me.
Well, I don't know. I think we both believe that UFOs exist.
All right, so what is your final take on this, if you had to, like, guess?
I mean, I'm
Or
sure it was a
just
UFO.
You think so?
That or like a military type aircraft that they didn't want to come out and say that they were testing, maybe.
It's a good possibility.
Because, like, I mean, you can look at it two ways. Like, all right, it's a UFO. Or you can look at they were testing a military aircraft that could, like, not space jump, but, like,
But like you said,
go
too,
stealth and not stealth. And then, I don't know. But then why would you do it over such a long period of time?
yeah, and you said, why would they do it over the city? Like, you wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that.
Unless they wanted to see what it would look like.
And see what people reported on.
Yeah, and then
Because
they can go and, like, use it against, you know, Russia and China and you know,
be
whoever.
Like, that would be great. Now, see, that's a real mind fuck if that's the case. Because now, if they do that stuff back then, do you think they're still doing that kind of, you know, putting stuff out into the public and saying, how do they react?
Hell yeah.
All right,
I think they still do that with a bunch of shit.
Well, I don't know. I remember, I think we touched on it on the Weird News a couple episodes ago, where Secure Team 10, another video that I watch, he talked about how the Hawaii missile test was kind of a false alarm, but they did it on purpose.
Sure.
To see how people would react. Now, see, that's fucked up to me if they did that shit.
I think they do that a lot, though.
So that's a possibility, I'd say, for the 1952 again. But
that goes into, like, a bunch of other stuff where you could talk about, like, the government keeps a lot of shit secret from you. Like, a lot of people believe the government knows a cure for cancer and kills everybody who comes up with it.
yeah, it comes down to money.
Or,
really.
like, Lyme disease was created by the government.
That's another thing.
And then it just got out, which is scary.
Yeah,
Because that didn't exist.
it is.
What's like other like big ones that they?
I mean, there's so many to
You know.
name. The government's, the whole LSD events, you know, that they were.
Oh yeah, the CIA
the
mind
mind
control.
control
Yeah,
and seeing how
I mean that's proven already. So that's that came out.
Yeah, but that gets me, just my last point is, how come this one is not as big as some other ones? You know, like we talk about, everybody knows Loch Ness. Everybody knows Bigfoot.
Nessie.
Everybody knows some of these events, right?
Well, Nessie's never been proven anyway.
No, but some of these events come up all the time.
Sure.
And then you don't hear about these other ones. Like, I would love to make this event into a movie. I would love to see somebody do
Independence Day.
Yeah,
I told you.
that. It
this.
wasn't really Independence Day. I mean, I guess it was in a way, but I want to see a cool movie where it's just based in Washington, D.C. and this stuff is happening.
National Treasure 3 UFOs.
That's so stupid.
Are they coming out with the National Treasure 3?
Supposedly. But I haven't seen anything.
I would like them to come out with a movie about Benjamin Franklin. And you're Benjamin Franklin.
About what, though?
Just his life.
Just his life? There's tons of documentaries on his life.
The whole movie.
No, that's dumb. That'd be dumb.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was a UFO, and I think it just doesn't get much play because most people don't. I don't know, with anything, most people don't know their history.
Well,
And most people are lied about their history. All history books are wrong, and people.
you think so?
Yeah, look at your go. Like, I would love to get a hands on like a 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade history book and see what's wrong. What they tell you about like America.
Well, you know, I'm into this stuff and reading it. There's a lot of things too when you look into history itself, and that we do learn and what we're taught at certain sites that we visit.
Is wrong.
I wouldn't say it's wrong. There's
Or
a lot
it's
of stuff.
misled.
Well, it's almost like this. If me and you say we're part of the founders, right? And we're founding this country, we're going to write it in a magnificent light about what we do here, right? There's a lot of stuff that we're going to keep secret, like you said, with the government, that we're going to keep secret, not to the public, and we're not going to release. Now, when people like us look back on that, read their documents, we could only go what the counts that we do find
Yeah.
and the information that they do write. There's a lot of stuff. There was secret meetings. How many secret meetings were there? How
Well,
many?
yeah, some people believe, I don't know if you heard this, that Thomas Jefferson wrote a alternate U.S. like Constitution.
See,
Did you hear about that?
There's a lot
or
of different
Declaration of Independence.
There's a lot of different theories.
You
I
know.
mean, even like the Declaration itself, we don't know the full history, and we're
Yeah.
not taught the full history because if you look at it, can you name all the Declarations of Independence that were that time? Like everybody knows the broadsides,
Sure.
right? Well, not the broadsides, but the actual parchment, the handwritten one. But there's a lot of broadsides that were printed at the time that are original to the time period that nobody knows. But I don't know. There's some monsters that get play. I don't know if you want to support. I think it would be cool. This is off topic now. I think 1952 UFOs did happen. It was real.
Bigfoot's real.
Bigfoot real.
Nessie's real.
This is cool. I want to give them a shout out because I really enjoy
Kickstarter?
their well, not the Kickstarter, but Small Town Monsters.
You love small town monsters.
I think they do a great job in some of the documentaries that they have made already. But
Flatwoods Monster.
yeah, they're making the Flatwoods Monster, the Braywood Beast, and then the Champ.
Bray Road Beast. What the hell is that?
See, these are all stuff that no one talks about. Everybody
Champ documentaries.
See, we know Nessie, right?
Well, no, I heard of Champ.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, I've heard of Champ.
Yeah, it's right here.
Yeah.
So they reached their goal already on their Kickstarter page. They already have 201 backers with 22 days left. But I was thinking about helping them out. You think Nightmare should help them out? We can get our name on the.
What the hell is that?
That's the beast, man.
That just looks like a wolf that's just standing up.
Yeah, it's the Bray Road Beast. But yeah, I was thinking about just getting a DVD copy, maybe having our name put in to the credits. I think it would be cool. But I like Small Town Monsters because they talk about some of these events that aren't well publicized.
Mm-hmm.
They did talk about, Mothman, which is a topic I want to talk about. But I don't know. I like supporting that kind of stuff, and I would want them. I think it'd be cool. I don't know if they could find anybody from that time period, but for them to do a documentary on the 1952 UFO event.
Contact them. See what they say.
I'll see. Hey, I got a case. Look into this. It doesn't get much play, but it's a UFO case. Let's talk about it. I don't know. I would want somebody to see them doing that. So. But let's wrap this up, man. We have T-shirts coming. Are you excited about that?
I am excited about that. I love T-shirts.
Yeah, so we have the logo, the new logo with
Matt's. If you guys raise, he said $10,000.
10,000.
Yep.
What?
No, listen.
All right, I'm listening.
You said if they raise $10,000, our listeners, you would get a Nightmare 365 tattoo on your back.
I'll do that.
That's what I heard. That's the rumor mill going around. Nightmare 365.
How long do we have to raise this money?
We'll have a I don't know. What do you think? A year or 6 months?
Well, if it's done in 6 months, that's cool because I don't think we'll raise that much money. And where are they going to raise this money? Is it going to be donated to our Patreon page?
Yeah, the Patreon page.
So check that out if you want to support it. Yeah. I would get it. I think it's a cool,
full back tat.
Do you like this logo that we have now?
Would you get it on your lower back?
I wouldn't get a full tattoo.
Just
of this.
Nightmare 365 right on the lower back.
No, that's stupid, man.
$10,000.
No, it's dumb.
You don't want to support the show.
No, I want to support the show. I would do this for better technology, so we could, put this
What
up
about
on
like
YouTube.
A pumpkin on your back?
I do it, but what about the UFO, the alien? Which one's me and you on the logo?
I'm definitely the bigger one.
Well, I don't know which one that is.
That guy right there.
So you're the guy on the right? I'm the guy in the back with my hand on my hip?
Yeah.
I'm killing it. But
The
anyway,
ghost is in the window.
Ghost is in the window. You can't see him. And then we got the alien there. But yeah, let's wrap this up, man. So, damn, I wish people would, believe in this.
$10,000.
$10,000 is not enough.
For you to get that back tat.
I wouldn't get it the way you describe it. I would get the tattoo, though. I think that's cool.
Where would you get it then?
Where would I get it?
Yeah.
I always thought if I ever got a tattoo, it'd be on like my side, on the rib cage,
Okay.
under my arm.
Yeah.
So I would do that. I think that's cool enough to have on there.
Would you get like Nightmare 365 up?
No, I'd get it the way it is, our logo.
Okay.
But check out nightmare365.com because our shirts will be coming in next week. So if you like them, I think I'm giving away a bunch. But
wow.
Well, promote the show, help it out, and then we'll have some left over for people to buy, and then we're going to order more. We'll have our store coming up soon, so check that out. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in to today's podcast. Help spread the word about the podcast. Leave a review, like we said, on iTunes or anywhere that you listen to this show. Check out the Patreon page.
Donate for that back tat.
Donate for that back tat for sure.
What?
On our Patreon page. And check out nightmare365.com because you could see upcoming episodes, what we're doing. We're working on short videos, like I said. So look for those short case file videos coming up soon on our YouTube channel. So subscribe there.
Mikey's
Check
Town
us
is
out.
coming out.
Mikey's Town. Dude, we have to get those videos.
That'd be awesome.
I know. I got to talk to him and see if we can get the videos back because I would love to play a clip. I would love to convert them and put them on our YouTube channel.
That would be
and let people watch them.
phenomenal.
I would have to get permission from everybody that's in the films, but
Stop it.
no, we'll get permission.
They're not big time.
No, I know, but still, you don't want to have people out there that don't want to be out there. But anyway, you're welcome to share your stories with us. You know, if you have a topic that you want us to talk about, if you want to be on the show, talk about a topic, let us know. We'll put you up. Anyway, all of our contact information can be found at nightmare365.com. That's the last time I said it. And next week on the show, G,
Yep.
what are we talking about?
You tell me.
It's a case. It's a mystery. Roanoke Island.
Yeah, this one I'm excited about. There's a lot of history and a lot of misinformation, I think, and a lot of people. I don't think anyone really knows about that.
No, I don't think anybody knows a true definitive answer, just like the 1952 UFO case over Washington, D.C. So Roanoke is next week. We'll be talking about that. So until we speak again, stay spooky, everybody.